Pledge allegiance. I think everybody has the minutes, which I already did a once over for. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes from our March 17th, 2014 meeting? And if not, could I have a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve the minutes?
And a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
abstentions or negatives? No? Okay, so they're passed unanimously. I think let's go to, I want to sort of move announcements to nearer the end because we do have a couple of presentations. So, Larry, if you want to give the health officer's report, please, and in particular the work on childhood hunger.
Thank you, Mrs. Wishner, and good afternoon to the board, and happy Easter to everyone. In your packets, you'll find my report for the month of March, which I did 22 food inspections, 8 bathing places, 9 complaints, ranging from, we had a lot of activity regarding animals last month, which we had 1 positive fox and 1 positive raccoon for rabies. Amongst those activities there. In your packet, you'll also find minutes from Alliance for Safe Kids for their April the 10th meeting. Those minutes are in your packet. You'll find a flyer for the 5K run, which will be May the 3rd, 2014. I apologize, I couldn't get that to get it any bigger when I was trying to open up the email. If you remember last month, we had at least 2 board members, Board of Commissioners, that showed interest in a meeting that was being held in Chester. And that meeting was to address the issue of childhood hunger, particularly when school is not in session. When school is in session, children have the opportunity that are from lower income to be able to take part in the school breakfast lunch program. But those same children, during the summer months, many of them don't have that opportunity. So what you'll find in your packet is a memo that I wrote resulting from that meeting. On Wednesday, March 6, 2014, I, along with Commissioner Jim Higgins, attended a meeting in Chester, PA. The issue of fighting childhood hunger when school was out was the topic. There were several presenters, which were someone from the USDA who sponsored the program, someone from the Pennsylvania Department of Education, someone from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and someone from Chester, among the other speakers. The issue surrounded the idea that while school is in session, needy children receive nutritious meals under the National School Lunch Act. However, during the summer vacation, many of these same children don't have the opportunity of receiving well-balanced meals. This program, through various partners, identifies the needs in the community, finds sponsors to administrate the program, then select and supervise the sites where feeding of the children occur. Currently, the Radnor School District participates in the program on all levels to a small degree where needed during the school season. In talking to different people in that program, I did find out that the Archdiocese did participate somewhat in Radnor 2 years ago in the Highland Avenue area. I've been talking to that person, trying to regenerate that, get their interest back, see if we could find someone. But the ideal, basically that was the gist of the meeting, and what it was all about was to try to find sponsors, someone, they have to have a 501(c) status to be a sponsor. And the good thing about this program is that it doesn't cost the municipality anything. And I think that it's important that no child goes to bed hungry.
Larry, can you say ideally what you would like to see happen from this meeting and what resources you're aware of?
Well, I would love to see, and mind that I know that Radnor does not have a lot of poor areas, but there are some areas where there are children that live in homes that don't have the income to be able to eat good, nutritious meals. You know, when they get a little money, they eat the junk food, the fast food, that type of thing. I would love if there was a group in the community to come forward to say that we would be happy to sponsor. And I could put them in touch with the people who can provide them with the resources so that no child goes to bed hungry. So basically, to identify sponsors. Moving on in my packet, you'll find that on April the 12th, there were free eyeglasses and eye care. It was April the 12th, it was held at the Wills Eye Hospital. You had to register. Unfortunately, it's over now, but we did put this information on our website and on our scroll. You'll find also in your packet, Remembering How to Fight Measles. It was communication that was sent from, I think it was you, Mrs. Wishner, for the board members to remind them of how to deal with measles. As the weather gets warm, I wanted to remind everyone about two different things. One, of West Nile virus, the mosquitoes that carry the West Nile virus. To be mindful that during the dawn and the night hours, that's when mosquitoes are most active, and that you should be mindful that there are mosquitoes that do carry the West Nile virus, and it is in this area. And some tips for that is you should wear long sleeve, light colored clothing, clean out your rain gutters. Bird baths and fountains should be flushed and water changed on a weekly basis. Get rid of old tires or anything that has a cavity in it that can hold water to prevent the breeding of mosquitoes. Also, I think it's important, and we kind of try to send a message home every year. Residents can register with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture to be on their hypersensitivity list for individuals, meaning that if for some reason after testing they find and determine that they're going to spray in the township in your particular area, they usually make it known to us through intercommunity health and directly. But with this sign up, residents that sign up for this can get and will get notified directly by the person who's doing, or the company that's doing the spraying, or Department of Agriculture, whoever's going to do it. So we do have these here at the township. If they call me, 610-688-5600, extension 148, or email me, I'll be happy to send them copies, the forms. My email is my website is www.radnor.org. My email is ltaltoan@radnor.org, and I'll be happy to send you these. Likewise, Lyme disease, the ticks that carry Lyme disease. High grass is something you could avoid if you have wood piles that you store for various reasons, recreation or for barbecuing or getting ready for the following winter. Try to store it in the sunlight where you get a lot of sun. It's sort of a little bit of a deterrent from ticks. If you are out in the high grass during the day, to make sure that you check yourselves for ticks. On Saturday, April the 5th, just passed, the police department had the free microchip clinic. I'm not sure how successful it was. I believe we had like between 15 and 20 dogs that got serviced, among other important information that they were giving out. But that was Saturday, April the 5th. Also, and this is one of my favorites because we now have the Radnor canine units. And it's one of the things that really makes me feel better, particularly with the summer months and the activities that we have outside. The Jazz Festival, the Wills of Wayne, Katie Sampson tournaments, those type of things. It makes me feel good because I usually have to come out and work those days, and those dogs are trained to help us be safe. So I feel pretty good about that. But anyway, this particular fundraiser is a So Fun Yogurt Canine Unit Fundraising Day. Thursday, May the 1st from 4 to 8 p.m. Please mention the canine fundraiser when arriving at So Fun Yogurt. That's at 315 East Lancaster Avenue in Wayne, PA. I'm a big supporter of those canine units. On April the 12th, 2004, which is also passed, we also put this information on our website and on our scroll. It was Mom and Baby Community Day at Bryn Mawr Hospital. I mess that word all up. I'll leave it to one of the doctors to pronounce that for me. But that was on Saturday, April the 12th. May 13th, 2014, in this room, Radnor Township, Radnor Shire room, the Carol H. Axelrod Memorial Blood Drive. It will be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can register by phone at 1-800-733-2767, or you can do so by web, www.chblood.drive.org. And also, and I'm going to try to wind it down here, the Radnor Township Board of Health wants to hear from you. Do you have a question for the Board of Health? What issues or topics do you feel the Board of Health should be addressing? Or comments or suggestions? Please send comments to Radnor Township Health Officer at ltaltoan@radnor.org, and I will forward it on to the Board of Health Chairman for addressing. You'll find in your packets some information regarding electronic cigarettes. I apologize, I got that kind of late, but there's some information regarding that. And also, just as important is, Radnor Township has taken part in, again, in a National Drug Take Back Day, April the 26th, 2014, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. A drop-off site is here in the Township building. And last but not least, distracted driving. Keep your kids safe. And I think we'll have a speaker tonight regarding that issue. Madam Chairman and Board, so is my report.
Thank you very much. And sort of once again, your expertise in so many areas is so impressive. Are there any questions, comments for Larry?
Larry, I'm most interested in the childhood hunger, and I think a collaborative effort while protecting the identity of the children was so important when I was in the school district. We have many more children than I think people realize. And if the Archdiocese has already handled a part of it, if there's some way that you as representing or one of the commissioners, that we could provide this. I'm sure we have enough resources in our township that people would not want our children to go hungry in the summer. So if anyone wants, I'd be interested in that, because so many children are afraid to admit things. They have, and the older they get, they don't want to let you know they're not eating. So there's usually a teacher that pays attention, or several, and says that child's not eating. So I don't know what the next step is, but I'll talk to you privately about it and see if I can help in any way.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. I think we'll go on to, I'd like to welcome Susan Kubiak, who is our Delaware County Highway Safety Coordinator from the Public Health Management Corporation, PHMC. Suzanne, you want to go ahead?
Hi, thank you, Ms. Fishner. I am located in media at the American Academy of Pediatrics, but I represent Delaware County. I worked 15 years in Center City, Philadelphia. That's where my main office. It's the Public Health Management Corporation, and we write a grant every year, and it's grant writing time. If anybody knows soft money, now's the time to start your grant proposals and submit them. So we're at that juncture right now, and the new grant period starts in October. So it will end at the end of September. What I do, and I have been doing, is all aspects of highway safety. And we utilize the community, and we work and we partner with the American Academy of Pediatrics, with Safe Kids Southeastern Pennsylvania. We work within the school districts. We work with recreation centers, community centers, and any aspect of libraries, anywhere the community will gather, local hospitals. And Mainline Health just had a huge health fair not too far from here. Unfortunately, I could not attend. But a lot of the times I bring this material with me. And I can go through very quickly. We usually approach the most vulnerable. And when you think about the most vulnerable in the community, you think very young and very old, because everybody else in between has somewhere to go and someone to take care of them. Child Protective Services, you have schools, recreation centers, the libraries, but it's the very young, the infants. And you can see on this, it's bright pink here, but the camera picks it up, looks a little bit lavender. It's a child safety seat inspection. There's 2 stations and locations that we attend to. One's in Middletown, and the other one is in Crumlin. And that's a new one. We're just starting. It's every second and third Thursday of the month. And you can go on the Children's Hospital, it's another partner, and register your seat and your name and your contact information, and you fill out the information, you show up at a certain time, and we inspect your child safety seat. I'm a child safety seat technician. Now, if we go to the other extreme, you'll see the Pennsylvania Yellow Dot program, and also from the Traffic Management Association, who we partner with as well in Delaware County. It is, what do you do when you're no longer driving or have that ability to drive? You need to find transportation to go to the doctor, grocery store, things that you just need, the dentist. That's the one brochure there. I'm going to leave all of these here for you. The other thing that it's interesting, people don't want to give up driving, that independence. The Yellow Dot program really reaches out to that age group, the older, the senior center, the seniors. And I go to the Wayne Senior Center and I do car fit. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of it. You go on the AAA website, another group we partner with, and the seniors are driving a car probably that does not fit them any longer. Or because of their disabilities or surgeries or illnesses that maybe medications they're on, they can no longer operate the vehicle the way they used to. And they haven't really figured that out yet. And we're there to do an educational program about a week or 2 prior to the actual car fit, which is where, again, I'm a trained technician through AAA, and we help them fit better into their car. And we bring an occupational therapist also trained in car fit, and they bring adaptive devices to help them either get in, out of a car. They have special mirrors, a seat belt, helps you put your seatbelt on. It's a device to help them put their seatbelt on. And we explain about airbag technology and how they don't realize that when you're sitting on top of the airbag, you really should have about a sheet of paper. You should sit over 10 inches away from that airbag. And they don't quite understand that. We talk about pedal extenders and things like that. And sometimes they just come in a car that they cannot operate safely. And we explain that to them. We don't take their driver's license away, but we share with them some of the things that, can help them get through their day a little bit easier. So that's the one end. The very young and the very old. And the in-between, we do school programs. We go to preschools, we go to elementary, middle school, high schools, and we do educational programs. And it ranges from whatever the school feels there is a need, whether it's seatbelt safety, pedestrian safety is always welcome in the schools, and then bicycle safety. And I have a couple of the different incentive items that we give out, and I always give out educational materials when I go to a school. Coloring sheets, we have stickers, we have tattoos, and we have cards and information that goes to the parent, because there's always a take-home folder during either the week or every day if it's a preschool. So the material not only goes to the student, it has the second tier of going to the parents, and it's always about the law, whether it's the pedestrian safety, seatbelt safety, the texting, underage drinking, and I have a fine card here. It didn't make the photo. And here it also has the law for speeding, and it's a really great card. And again, we partner with the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Traffic Injury Prevention Project. And you can get a lot of this information just by calling 1-800-CAR-BELT. And they have a lot of information on bicycle safety, seatbelt safety, pedestrian, anything you can imagine that has to do with traffic injury prevention. It is focused on children, but they do reach out and do senior citizen and adult education as well. We have stickers here that we hand out. And there's another, I'm going to wrap this up with a very hard to reach population, and we do utilize the police departments quite extensively when we go into this age group. It's high school age group, because we're finding they know everything, and they're very well versed, and they don't need any help. They are okay just the way they are. So what we like to do is approach them with kind of from all different aspects. We have a couple of programs that the police department, they use, and we try and just soften it to the fact that we want you to arrive alive, basically. That's it, in one piece, unscathed. And to do that, we hope to put the message out: we should not be texting and driving, eating and driving, putting makeup on and driving, talking on the phone, even if it's hands-free. You should not be distracted in that way as well. It's distracted driving. And then I have a locker mirror that also wouldn't show up very well. I brought one for everybody. And it does say, arrive alive, don't ride with a drinking driver. Because a lot of times, that's the decision-making skill that I think teens are lacking, and peer pressure, and being independent and making that decision for themselves. So arrive alive, don't ride with a drinking driver, because I don't think the children are making the decision to get behind the wheel, but they don't know who is driving the car. It could be an adult, it could be a parent, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent. So they really have to make those hard decisions: texting and driving, drinking and driving. Other choices as they move on in life. And I think Officer Mattis also has some programs that he will be talking about in that hard-to-reach age group of Survival 101 and a lot of the Buckle Up PA. And again, we work very closely with the different police departments, just not only in Radnor, but in all of Delaware County. They have a lot of grants that they apply for aggressive driving and seatbelt grant. So we want to see everyone buckled up, 100%. 80-some% just isn't enough. So could I have a show of hands? How many people here wear their seatbelt every single time they go for a ride in the car? I would expect nothing less. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for inviting me tonight. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you very much. Did you want to add anything either?
Yeah, the two of the programs that we currently have, I'm Officer Mattis, I'm in the Highway Patrol Unit. The two educational classes that we have is called Survivor 101, where we go out to the schools and we have a presentation we give. It's about distracted driving, drinking, and there's a lot of facts in there about drinking and driving, texting, as well as some photographs that aren't pleasant to see, which we show the high school students that. We've only done it at one school so far. It seems like because the program is a little over an hour long, and we've had difficulty trying to get into schools because their classes aren't long enough for this program. So we really haven't got into that. We've done just one at one school. Because I've called and they said, you only have 50 minutes of class. So that would really be rushing the program, and I don't think we would get across what the things we need to get across. So that's one reason why we haven't been at the high schools yet. Secondly, they have a new one out. It's called Sit Back. It's elementary. It's a new one out for pre-K and elementary school. It's all about seat belts. We haven't gotten trained in this yet because this just came out not too long ago, and we're in the process of getting trained, and we're going to go in the elementary schools and with this program and deal with, they said basically the age group, second graders, be interested in this program. It's an excellent program. We're going to get trained in that and try to get into the schools for that. And as Suzanne brought up, out in Pittsburgh, was it maybe a month ago, I was out there, I met a gentleman by the name of Joe Feldman, and he started a program called End Distract Driving. He had his daughter was killed by a distracted driver. He gave an excellent presentation out there. He does schools around the area here. He's from Springfield, Delaware County. And he does the schools. He's done Agnes Irwin. He hasn't got into the Radnor School District yet. So what we decided to do was hold one here. We're going to have it on May 20th here at 7 o'clock in this room. You have to pre-register because we only have a capability of holding a little over 100 in this room. So you have to pre-register. You have to contact Mary Ann Donnelly at extension 157 to register for that. It's an excellent program for teen drivers as well as parents. That's why we're going to have it here, because we want the parents to get involved and be part of this program as well. So we're hoping that's a big success. It's free. He goes around to the schools and does this for free. So that's all I have.
Thank you. And is that information about that on the scroll, do you know? Or can we get it on the scroll?
It is on there.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I know when we spoke on the phone, I mean, I really think, I mean, the schools are not going to lengthen their periods. So I really think that it's unfortunately incumbent upon you to figure out how to split the program into two, the Survival 101. I mean, or unfortunately, the schools are not going to flex. And so that means that it really is up to you to flex in some way, whether to pick a chunk of it and say, okay, here's the chunk I can get done. I mean, I wish that weren't the case, but this is the real world. So, or some way to split it into two segments and figure out what makes sense in terms of doing that.
What do you think about maybe having one here in the evening?
I certainly think it's worth trying. Like, let's try it and
Right.
see.
You could do that.
I mean, I think we all know a lot of kids and parents are busy in the evening. You
Right.
know, I mean, people have activities,
Right.
and if they don't have activities, they're exhausted. So it's a challenge, but I think it's worth trying.
Okay.
But I think, I mean, really, I mean, Agnes, I mean, one of the reasons or it's really the main reason I wanted to invite these people here to talk about this was to see, can we do more with these terrific programs, getting them into the schools? I mean, or can we, have an assembly where we do the Survival 101, or, how can we, adapt?
Is it working now? Okay. I will talk to Kevin Kane and get back to you. I think the elementary age program will probably be much easier to get into the school because they don't have as regimented a time periods. So I think that would probably be a good program once you get that up and moving. I think the elementary schools will probably be more receptive to it. As far as the high schools, I don't work in the upper school, so I would have to check with him and see. what measures can be taken to possibly get them into the school. They sound like great programs.
Okay, well, if at the next meeting, if you're here, or if Kevin Kane is back, if we could get some response to this,
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
I have a question. Have you emailed the high school principals and let them know what you have? Because they used to have a community period, and with prom season upon us, what a perfect time, because whether it's texting or makeup, I mean, that somewhere along the line, they always do something for prom season. And if, you're our own resource right here. So I don't know what the community period's.
All the high schools have been contacted. They're part of our seatbelt challenge, and Radnor High School is part of the seatbelt challenge, as is Archbishop Carroll. They're part of the seatbelt challenge, where to participate in the seatbelt challenge, you have to have Survival 101 in your schools. And when we approach them, especially this year, it is so hard due to the snow delay.
Yes.
And there is just no time. They've extended our school district where I live, and they've taken away almost all of their spring break. And we did contact Radnor High School, and there was no return. Same thing with Archbishop Carroll. Yes, my office, Traffic Management Association, and the Radnor Police Department. So there's 3 of us all trying to get this in, and that was the only, and it is an hour plus. And now I have done the Survival 101 with the state police, and they've modified it, just as Mrs. Wishner has mentioned, that you take a chunk and you decide, I'm here, I have a period that is 45 minutes. I've got to fit in here as much as I possibly can, and just say, this isn't going to happen, but this has to happen. And maybe modifying it and giving them the option might possibly work. That's a great idea.
Well, I go to the high school. I know that each period's about 40 minutes, and the community period would be 38 minutes. But on Wednesdays and Thursdays, there are block days, which are 80 minutes long each. And I don't know if you guys could do it on those days, because that would have plenty of time for the program.
Yeah.
So I just thought,
That's plenty of
people
time.
should know that.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Okay, so Agnes, you're going to be our messenger for two-way communication on this, right?
Okay,
Okay.
definitely. I'll be in
Thanks.
contact with Kevin tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So let's, any other discussion on this for the moment? Okay, so Linda, do you want to go on to our next topic, which is detergent packet poisoning? Suzanne, thank you so much for coming.
I do, yes.
I have a connection at Carroll, so.
We're going to be out of Carroll.
Are you going?
Mm-hmm, we're doing some education.
Okay, did you want a specific program, or I'll talk to you offline? That would be there. Okay, all right.
That'd be perfect,
All
thank
right.
you.
I'm going to see if I can open this. All right, thank you for letting me talk tonight. We've had a couple recent exposures at a couple local hospitals that I wanted to talk about for public awareness, and I don't know if it can show up on the screen there. Is it? Okay. Does it function F4?
Here it comes.
Oh, great. It worked. Okay, I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about an important topic that we've seen a couple exposures in the emergency departments on the main line. I won't say where, but this regards laundry detergent pods. And I don't know if you're familiar with those. They became available on the market in the United States in 2010. The CDC says its exposure to laundry detergent pods is an emerging public health hazard in the United States. Since early 2012, poison control centers nationwide have received reports of nearly 7,700 pod-related exposures in children under the age of 5. It is the 5th most common exposure for children under the age of 5, and as you know, children at that age are putting everything in their mouth. All brands of these laundry detergent pods can be mistaken for candy or snacks, and as you can see at the top right, I have a picture there. It looks like a candy jar, so you could see how that could be attractive to a child. These pods are more toxic compared to the traditional laundry detergent liquid and powder that we've known in years past. Oops, sorry. This is a different. Okay. These pods are unique because once they're chewed or bitten, the package will burst quickly, and then the detergent shoots into the oral cavity down the esophagus into the stomach. It causes vomiting, sores in the mouth, throat, esophagus, and stomach very quickly. This exposure can progress to coughing, breathing difficulties, low oxygen levels, swelling of the breathing tube, respiratory distress, metabolic problems, as well as severe drowsiness very quickly. And what we've seen is the kids progress within 5-10 minutes of becoming unresponsive, requiring life support when they get to the emergency department. If exposed to the eyes, it can cause minor to severe eye injuries. Skin burns have also been reported. And the first reported death occurred in a 7-month-old child that swallowed it back in August of 2013, which is really unfortunate. Okay, so steps that we can take in the community, as well as I'm putting this out for maybe grandparents or people that watch children to really be aware of what to do. The manufacturers themselves have put warning stickers on the outsides of the containers and have installed multiple latches on the top to prevent children from getting into them. Obviously, you want to keep them locked and out of the child's reach. Avoid placing them on top of washers. There was one article that said kids will pull up chairs and climb on top of the washers to get these. And if a child becomes exposed with eyes or skin, you want to call the Poison Center, and I have it up there. It's 1-800-222-1222. Definitely, if a child bites it or gets it in the mouth, the parents or whoever's watching the children should call 911 and not the Poison Center, because they would need a medical treatment right away. So I just wanted to bring this up. The 2 children I'm aware of did end up requiring life support and transferred to an acute care center, but did very well within 24 to 48 hours. But it was something the doctors we've been talking about recently, so I thought it would be warranted public awareness. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Questions, comments? Dr. Foreman, is this something you've...
This is new information to me in a lot of ways. I mean, I understood the phosphates in these products are very dangerous, but the the kind of public health awareness of this is it's interesting. I haven't seen
Right.
it, thank goodness, in my practice.
So like any other toxic chemical, I know myself as being a parent, I always was paranoid about having everything locked and up, but especially these, and the containers are just so alluring. And I was surprised when I went into the supermarket and seeing all the bags and different colored pods.
What are the main ages that are most at risk, like from, I guess,
It
from
said
toddlers?
ages 5 and under,
through-
so toddlers, probably, I would imagine 3 to 5, they're up walking around into everything and then putting everything in their mouth. All right. Any questions? All right.
Thank you very much, Linda.
You're very
It's
welcome.
Really great to bring this to our attention and that of the public. Thank you. E-cigarettes. Dr. Saldivar, go ahead.
Yes, thanks. So I was asked at our last meeting to put together a letter that we would like to submit to the Radnor Township School District regarding e-cigarettes in the schools. And so to do this, I did a literature search using UpToDate, which is a physician database of evidence-based medicine, CDC website, some other websites as well, to gather some information regarding e-cigarettes and how they fit into tobacco cessation programs. And so I submitted a letter to the board. We haven't really reviewed it, I know, as a group, so I welcome everyone's comments, but I wanted to make several points from what I read, regarding this. So, we all recognize that cigarette smoking is associated with many adverse health outcomes, and that smoking is a problem amongst teens. Nationally, in 2008, about 20% of high school seniors in a national survey admitted to being current smokers. So it's definitely an issue. There's a lot of high-quality research surrounding tobacco cessation techniques that have been proven to be effective and safe in the adolescent age group, namely among them pediatrician-initiated tobacco cessation counseling support, nicotine replacement, patch and gum, and smoking cessation individual and group counseling programs, some of which I've listed here in the letter. And then also web-based and self-help programs, including one I wanted to highlight, 1-800-QUIT-NOW.cancer/gov, which is available to everyone. And if you access that, there's lots of information on the web regarding tobacco and nicotine adverse health outcomes, and then also access to quit programs that would be free of charge and then very helpful to even teenage smokers. So in terms of, so there are several programs that and techniques that are effective and safe and FDA monitored in terms of tobacco cessation programs. So where it comes to electronic cigarettes, which is the topic of this, what I found was that electronic cigarettes in their current form were first marketed in 2003 in China, and really only came to the United States in their current form in around 2007. So we've only had about 6.5 years of experience with electronic cigarettes. They look like regular cigarettes. They are based on an inhalation technique with lots of parts in the plastic cigarette, including some metals and some other hard pieces. And then you use a liquid-based nicotine-containing liquid that becomes aerosolized and then is inhaled, just like a cigarette. And so the reason for this letter, I think, is some of the other things that we found around it. Number one is that electronic cigarettes are not monitored by the FDA. They're not considered a drug, so there is no quality control of these substances that are brought in from other countries and produced here. There's about over 100 companies that are now marketing electronic cigarettes and their own formulations of the liquid-based chemical that's put in the electronic cigarettes. That's primary. That's number one. Number two is that non-smokers have been using electronic cigarettes, and there's a 2012 National Youth Tobacco Survey that was done on middle and high school students that reported 1 in 14 students have actually tried electronic cigarettes on a regular basis, and that's twice as many as in 2010, so a two-time increase in 2 years. And of those students, of the 1 in 14, about 1 in 10 of them had never smoked a traditional cigarette. So these are new people to cigarette use. And so that, has the concerning conclusion that perhaps we might be encouraging cigarette or nicotine addiction in students or in teens that might not have tried traditional cigarettes in the past, which is opposite to what the manufacturers are claiming the benefit of electronic cigarettes are, I don't know. Anyway, and then there's certainly the short-term experience that we have with these electronic cigarettes, the 6.5 years, which is not really long enough for us to know exactly what the long-term health hazards are of what they call vaping, or aerosolizing these electronic, or the liquid-based nicotine chemicals. So, for those reasons, I think that it's reasonable that as a Board of Health that we would raise caution around using electronic cigarettes as an alternative to tobacco cessation techniques that have been proven and are monitored by the FDA. And I would recommend that, that we send a letter to the school district asking them to consider banning electronic cigarettes as well as traditional cigarettes from their campuses.
Thank you. Comments? I think, in a way, I don't want to completely link electronic cigarettes with tobacco and nicotine, because some of them don't have any tobacco or nicotine in them, and I still don't want those around either. And I know you do talk about the various chemicals and, so somehow I want to preserve that. I don't want those chemicals and additives and whatever being even just a gateway to more use of them, So, I don't want it, somehow restricted to the nicotine and tobacco area, especially for kids, because that's part of how they're marketing them is, and they could potentially do that. They could say, oh, well, ours doesn't have any nicotine, and ours is bubblegum flavored or whatever. So, and I don't, and I think that that's potentially, very dangerous as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think even the ones that are marketed as E-Lite, I think those are the ones that are supposed to be nicotine-free. When they went and studied them, they still contain trace amounts of nicotine. But I think that the underlying message is that there are proven methods of nicotine replacement therapy for teens that are smokers currently that are safer, are monitored. I think we should put our efforts behind those and also behind the tobacco cessation programs, the education programs that are especially useful in this age group, and not encourage the use of electronic cigarettes that haven't been studied and we don't know the safety profile on them.
I'd like to thank you for that wonderful work and research. I know that's a lot, but I do think it's important that the board recognizes this is probably and the school district, I'm sure, hopefully has addressed it or considered it, but a student usually tries a cigarette for the first time in 5th grade. So I think it's really important that these little buggers may think this is totally cool. And we don't know what's in there. And we don't think of 5th graders trying that, but that is in fact the research. So given all of the information that Dr. Saldivar, and I hope that we can discuss this further as a board and come up with something to offer the school district to keep our children safe.
Agnes, do you want to address this? Because I
Thank
know
you.
we had talked about it at our last meeting as well.
Yeah, I had relayed the information to Kevin, and he said he would pass it on to his administration. I think it'd be really worthwhile, and I also think it would be, you made a good point about introducing it at the elementary age, even education programs for them about that. I know they have health and wellness classes that they could introduce that, because they do, I think, have a drug and alcohol and whatnot part of their curriculum, and I think this would be something that would be helpful to be incorporated into the curriculum. I could also pass on, are you going to be mailing this or submitting this letter to the school board soon? Is this finalized? Is this what you're going to present, or?
I think that's part of what we're discussing tonight. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I think it's a good idea to present it, and I think it will be well received by the administration. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of particularly sorry that our liaison with the commissioners, Mr. Nagel, is not here tonight because, honestly, I'm not sure sort of what the appropriate next step is, whether we need to go through the commissioners or notify the commissioners that we're sending this to the school board, or just send it to the commissioners and ask them. Dr. Humphrey, do you have
I was just
thought on the
wondering
process here?
about the process itself, and this seems sort of precedential in a way. I don't think we've really sent recommendations outside of our, relationship with the commissioners directly to the school district. So I agree. I think it would have been nice to have our liaison here. But I think they need to know, our liaison needs to take that information,
And
our
relay it.
opinion to the commissioners and see if the commissioners can send a letter or instruct us to send a letter. I think we need to get them in the loop.
Okay.
So, I'm just trying to think. So I guess, I mean, I could certainly, if we are agreed that we support this, what you've done. And again, I echo what Marianne said. Thank you very much for doing this. I could send it to Mr. Nagel and say, we are interested. I mean, because the thing is that we were suggesting already was that the school policy committee consider moving to the language of a tobacco-free campus rather than the way the policy is written now, which more says you can't use tobacco in these specific places. We wanted to go to a more, I don't know what the term is for that type of logic, but where we'd say tobacco-free, and I would say and e-cigarette-free, e-cigarette-free campus as well. So rather than listing the places where something can't be used, just say, well, it really shouldn't be part of any, school grounds activities, some blanket kind of language like that, for just even the regular tobacco policy. And then we were interested in considering incorporating this into that type of changed
policy.
language, changed policy. I guess maybe I'll ask for a motion for me to forward this on to Mr. Nagel with his asking for, with a bit of an explanation about why we're doing this, although I think it's, pretty well explained in here, but then saying, we'd like to move this ahead for consideration by the school policy committee, which I guess is part of the school board. But I think that's the entity, there is a policy committee, so I think that's the entity that we want to be sort of getting this.
Yes, there's a policy, or a school board policy, part of the school board. They are the ones that review the policy and either approve it or review them. So you would have to go through there.
Right.
I make a motion to move that letter to Mr. Nagel and explain to him what we're interested in doing.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. Marianne, did you want to do an update on what's happening with Dr. Offit?
Sure. Laura Offit, as you know, and I sent this to some of you late in the day as I put it together. She has the sites, the different websites, and kudos to her, and with gratitude from Radnor Township, she has been listed in the top 23 nationally ranked resources by the American Association of School Nurses. So, and I listed her website there if you'd like to go to it. It's web.magnushealth.com. So the sites have had 7,000 international views in the first year. So that's great. And 200 regular followers. I only cough when I talk. After the panel here on mental health, Dr. Offit reached out to every panel member and has met with all of them, except for the school district one, which was Dorothy Lowry. And she's very hopeful to meet with her. She met with Dave McKeegan from Delaware County Suicide Prevention, and they continue an ongoing email exchange and working collaboratively, building a nice relationship on mental health issues. She met with Dr. Hillman, who was quite enthusiastic about the adolescent health issues and has Dr. Offit's cards in her waiting room now, and they continue to have dialogue. And she reached out to Jenny Mills regarding the, asking her for ideas to post. If you remember, she was the one on mindfulness, and she was asking for some posts and is awaiting that. She's also dealt with Roz Kaplan, who's on the faculty at Temple, and has also met with Marty Gillen and Haley Butler, who are on the Speak Up program now. This summer, Dr. Offit is putting together a teen advisory board for input on, so she has a fresh start as to what to put on, posts and et cetera, to actually have real teens that want to be, interested in that. So she's working. I don't know, can you be a hero in your own town? I'm not sure. I just don't think we've recognized in this town how lucky we are. But I was thrilled to be nationally ranked within a year. That's amazing to me. So that's that on Laura Offit, and we're very lucky to have her, and I hope everyone out there has visited her sites, and if not, please do. The other thing there that I mentioned about mental health is there's the 5K run walk for suicide that Mr. Taltone, suicide prevention, on May 3rd at Ridley Creek Park. Registration is open right until the event occurs. There is a Team Radnor that Commissioner Schaefer and her daughter are heading up. So there is continued conversation on the mental health of our young people in this township, and I believe it's going in a positive way. So that's the way I'd like to keep it going and keep it in, that we all pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments on that? I'm going to be representing the Board of Health at the Katie Sampson lacrosse tournament Saturday. Okay. And, along the lines of I don't ask people to do something that I'm not doing myself. And I've been collecting various literature to give out, and I'll have a clipboard and be able to ask, and I have to get the table covering, and I have to figure out where the table's coming from. And I guess the one thing is, given the weather, I don't know if anybody by any chance has any kind of pop-up tent, because I really can't be out in the sun that much, or if anyone has any ideas about where I could come up with one. The township does not have such a thing. So I will just put that out there. And then, Linda, you did a Radnor Health Matters on women's cardiac health. You recorded, right?
Yes, we got together last week. Dr. Imordino, a cardiologist at Bryn Mawr Hospital, Kim Mayhew, a cardiovascular physician assistant, and myself taped Women in Heart Disease last week, and I think it went pretty well. So we're getting that together, and it should air, hopefully. I don't want to say what Jim will do, but maybe in the next month or so. But it went really well. I actually learned a few things myself, so it was good.
Excellent. And I'm taping one on breastfeeding with Dr. Rabinowitz this Friday, and I'm waiting on Dr. Saldivar to give me a date to do the one with her. So I would just encourage other people who are thinking of Radnor Health Matters topics to sort of move ahead with getting your people and your times together to do that. I went at our next meeting, because we're out of time, I don't know, in some combination of Dr. Foreman and our veterinarian here, if you can say if anything more about West Nile and sort of appropriate and inappropriate ways to remove ticks from your pets and yourself, I think would be good to go over that. Let's see, are there any other announcements people would like to make, or things they would like on the agenda for the next, oh, I know what, also for the next meeting, can you do white nose syndrome?
I can.
Okay.
Two quick, one quick announcement was that just along the mental health side, there is a Supporting Children Through Divorce lecture series, two lectures. An issue in the community that always seems to come up is divorce and how children react to it. And that's Tuesday, April 22nd and the 29th at Bryn Mawr Presbyterian Church. It's a free event. And then I'm going to ask the board if it's okay if I start to do a bit of research on a big issue that's national, and it might open up a can of worms as far as recommendations from the school, from us to the school, or us to the township leagues, and this is traumatic brain injury or concussions. It's been a topic of concern in the professional level, high school level, and now even in the elementary school and middle school level. And I think it's important for maybe a small little presentation about what it's about, and then starting to do some research about what the township and the schools already have in place for this kind of thing. Are they in the current sort of literature of what's expected these days for head injuries?
Yeah, that'd be terrific. Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to mention April's Gift of Life month for organ donation, and just bring up just a couple things real quickly. It only takes 30 seconds to register to become an organ donor. One organ donation can enhance the life of more than 50 people. So you can do it one of two ways. When you renew your driver's license, you can register that way, or go to donatelifepa.org to register to become an organ donor. It's a great thing. So many people are waiting every day for an organ.
Thank you. Or total body donor as well. Anything else? Anything, Larry, that we should be having on our agenda for our next meeting that you're aware of at the moment?
No, the only thing is, again, that you mentioned the Katie Sampson lacrosse tournament, and Sunday will be the Wills of Wayne. Two special events.
Thank you. And I just want to thank our intern, Morgan Downbria, again for your work. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so if there is nothing else, our next meeting, Monday, May 19th, 2014, at 5 p.m. here. And thank you all very much.